Okay, settle down. Take it easy. What the
Kanga, Kanga, Kanga.
Ray, Ray, Ray.
Kanga, Kanga, Kanga.
Ray, Ray, Ray.
Kanga.
Ray.
Kanga.
Ray. Kangaroos. 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 Kangaroos.
Hello everybody, Cooper here, and welcome back to another rebuild here on AFL 26. I hope you're all doing very well today. It's time for North Melbourne. If you guessed by the intro, thumbnail, and the like, North Melbourne have got a big rebuild on their hands. They've actually done very well this season in the grand scheme of things, but they've really not been competitive since they delisted Ferrito, Brent Harvey, Nick Dal Santo, and Drew Petrie almost 10 years ago. And they've won probably 15 games in the last 6 years, which isn't great. But we're hoping to change that today with a all-out assault on the AFL draft throughout our couple of seasons, because this one is probably going to take a couple of seasons. That said, with our objectives, is basically what I'm trying to say. I'm actually going to pick the platinum objective because there is no reason for us to pick the bronze one, because the signing bonus for the season objective for platinum covers the entirety of the bonus for bronze, and we get a decent completion bonus as well, so there's no other reason for us to not do that. So we're going to pick the platinum one, even though we may be setting up some expectations for failure. Hopefully that won't be the case too much. And in terms of our roster, we obviously have a lot of young talent, mainly midfielders. I mean, we've got Finn O'Sullivan, who we just picked up in the draft. We've got Harry Sheasel, who may be one of my favourite players in the AFL. We've got some veterans in the likes of Caleb Daniel and Luke Parker, as well as Jack Darling, who I, probably could have retired 3 years ago, if we're being perfectly honest. Then we've got the human soft tissue injury machine in Georgie Wardlaw. We've got Zane Dersman, who's sort of like a hybrid sort of, I don't want to say Nat Fyfe, but like he's kind of like a Nat Fyfe kind of midfield forward hybrid, but obviously doesn't have the athleticism of Nat Fyfe, but obviously has the body size. So he could be either like a half forward or a midfielder, depending on. We've got father-son in Bailey Scott. We've got LDU, who's just all signed up to a brand new contract. We've got the Kirch. We've got a lot of very, very good young midfielders and just a lot of good young players as well. And we just got to figure out which one's the best, how can we fit them all into the one team, and hopefully do okay in the meantime. I don't think there's any contracts for me to do at this point in time. I believe we'll have a quick scout just to see what our books are like for next season. We've got 30 players currently contracted. If we have a look at who's expiring, we can see that we've got a few younger players that are expiring, like your Will Phillips, your Callum Coleman Jones, I should say, Toby Pink, who's had a very good couple of weeks in real life, but obviously in game that isn't reflected, Cooper Harvey, who's a father-son, and then we've got a few other rookie listed players as well to keep an eye on. So hopefully over the course of the season our form will be semi-decent, but I'm going to skip forward until the end of 2025 because honestly this season will be a bit of a wash. Here are our season objectives. If you want to pause on the screen and have a look, hopefully we can tick a few of these off. Let's meet up in the off season. The season is done. We didn't make finals as expected. Tom Green is your Brownlow medalist for this year, with Tom Liberatore and Callum Mills finishing on the podium. Sam Darcy, 45 goals out in front of the Coleman, and Jacob Costanti with the Rising Star Award, along with Finn Sullivan and Riley Hardman in and around the top 10 as well. No All-Australians for us, unfortunately, which, I mean, we finished in the bottom 5, but we won 9 games, which was actually a lot more than I expected, but it was actually quite funny. We lost like our first, I think, 6 or 7 games in the middle of the season, at the start of the season, I should say. We then won 6 in a row. They went on a massive losing streak once again, and then we got 3 wins towards the back end of the year. It was kind of like a year sort of set in thirds. It was a really bad first third. The second third was really good, and then the last bit wasn't too bad. But we finished with 9 and 14. Our percentage was the only thing keeping us out of the top 12. West Coast actually finished above us, which is quite funny. But I would say not a bad season in total. I don't know who won the grand final. We need to have a look at that in a minute. Looks like the Doggies got it with a 10-goal win over the Swans. Freo get knocked out in the prelims. So obviously we've had a lot of Freo in this series so far. So we've got to keep an eye on them. If we play Freo in a grand final at some point, I'm going to be very, very upset. But a very, very good season by the Bulldogs. By far and away the best team this season. But now we have to have a look at our roster. The free agency period is now open and we still have a few contracts to have a look at. In terms of guys that I want to bring back, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm quite happy to let all of these guys go. I know Costanti won the Rising Star, but he's not very good. So I'm quite happy to let everybody on this list go. Really just try and bring in some new, fresh, up-and-coming talent. And quickly, before I forget for us, Tristan Cherry actually won the goal kicking, funnily enough, with 32 goals, played every single game, got obviously the most hit-outs for us. Costanti finished in second, despite only playing 16 games. Sheasel was very, very good. Had I think a tight hamstring towards the back end of the year. Nick Larkey, only the 23 goals from him this season. Riley Hardman, 21. McKercher, 20. George Woodward played every single game, which honestly was a surprise. But a pretty good season, I think, from us. And with the free agency period, there's actually no real free agents that I do want to bring in. We've got plenty of players on our list at the moment, so I'm happy to actually get into the trade period straight away. We'll leave the free agency to list management. They shouldn't sign anybody without my consent, which they haven't. So let's actually head into the draft and just see what kind of talent we can see that is on the board. I've already seen a good young defender here in Christian Ware. 18 years of age, rebounding half-back from Western Australia. Has a bit of speed, has already kicked a few goals, it looks like, in the championship. So I think he is going to be one of our main targets. All the guys that are sort of above him with the lower potential, they're just auto-generated guys. So we're just going to quickly have a scout and see who actually played in the championship. So as you can see, Ware is at the top of the list. But there's also a few players down here who are also defenders. We've got Madden, we've got Randall, and we've got Masters, who at our half-back line, which is something that we do need to have a look at, there are some quality options. If we go further down the draft board here, we've got a key defender here in Jerry, who doesn't have as much potential, but is a decent option. But I feel like we're actually quite set for key defenders. So we'll just have a little bit of a look around, but I think there's no real reason for us to trade our draft pick to move up the board. I think we're pretty secure on getting a decent prospect where we are. And kicking off free agency, we can see that the Western Bulldogs have lost Ed Richards to Hawthorn. They've received draft pick 20 in exchange. Oscar Allen is off to Brisbane. West Coast get a good draft pick, and they've also lost Jack Petruccelli over to Richmond in terms of some trades that have already happened. Joel Trudgeon is off to Richmond. He's been traded from the Suns for pick 40. Ollie Dempsey has been traded to Carlton in exchange for a future first. Ryden Gardner from the Bulldogs has been traded to West Coast for pick 25. Matt Rao is now a member of Hawthorn. He's been traded from Gold Coast for pick 8 and pick 28. And Jace Burgoyne has been sent to St Kilda for pick 29 and pick 48. That is an absolute steal. My first order of business is to do a deal with Port Adelaide. I'm going to send Callum Coleman-Jones and Toby Pink, two South Australians, along with Ryan Hansen Jr. and the GOAT. I think is it James Goat, I believe his name is, to Port Adelaide for a second round pick this year, which is pick 22. And they say we're a little bit far off, but as we know, they do have a few draft picks from the Jace Burgoyne trade. So what if we go for pick 29 instead? They still say no. What if we just go for pick 48 instead? They still say no. I mean, admittedly, these players that we're trading away aren't fantastic, so I'm happy to take pick 60. Or actually, let's see if we can go for a future third instead. Can we go a little bit sneaky there? They still say no. We'll take pick 60. That is fine. I've now put in a contract offer for Tyler Welsh from the Adelaide Crows. Now, you're probably wondering, he's a father-son to the Adelaide Crows. Why are you doing this? Well, we desperately need a key forward because the only two on the list are Nick Larkey and Jack Darling. But Tyler Welsh's dad, Scott Welsh, did play for North Melbourne and was a Premiership player in 1999, so does have some ties to the North Melbourne Footy Club. So we're going to try and put a deal together for Tyler Welsh. We're going to be sending Caleb Daniel and Tom Powell. I promise you this isn't the entire deal. We're going to be trying to get a few more pieces, probably a second round pick as well, because Caleb Daniel, I'm not really sure what his fit is with North Melbourne, to be perfectly honest. We've just got too many of those sort of small midfield halfback types, and he's obviously getting older. We're paying him a decent wage. I want to move him on. He can go back to his home state. Tom Powell, also from South Australia. So another deal with a South Australian club. Both parties are extremely happy with this deal, where you get a key forward finally with a bit of potential. Next up, we're going to be sending Will Phillips, Mr. George, and Aiden Core off to St Kilda in exchange for a future second round pick. I feel like this is a pretty generous deal. We get another pick to add to our collection, and I promise all these picks, we are going to be adding them together for something, I promise. Lastly, we're going to bunch all of our uncontracted players together. Ford, Costanti, and Payne off to Essendon in exchange for their second round pick in this year's draft, which is pick 23. Another deal done for another second round pick. So now that all of our non-contracted players are off the team list, we can see we have 15 roster spots available and about $4.5 million to spend. Now, I said that I wasn't going to go for other big name free agents, but we could probably afford to go and get a few more experienced players, guys that are sort of entering the last couple of years of their careers, like the Luke Parkers, the Jack Darlings of the world. Caleb Daniel sort of is a little bit sort of before that time. So I think this is where we're going to go to free agency and have a look and see what kind of more mature age players there are there. First order of business is bringing back a ruckman to help mentor some of our younger rucks that we're going to be getting in the future. Todd Goldstein is back at North Melbourne on a 1-year deal. Alistair Clarkson has worked his Hawthorn magic. Once again, Luke Bruce is hopping over, and he has joined the club on a 2-year deal, as has Taylor Duray from the Western Bulldogs, also on a 2-year deal. This is the last Hawthorn player we are recruiting, I promise. It's Jack Gunston from the Hawks on a 2-year deal. Going to be trying to move up to pick 14 from the Giants. We're going to be sending 23, 24, and 35 their way. They say yes. We are now got another pick in the first round of the draft. Let's just have a quick scout at the rest of our draft haul. We got 5, 14, then we head into the third round and below. We've got 46, 63, 65. I might just leave it here actually, because we've got 2 future second rounders for next season. We've got our first round pick as well. I don't think there's any other moves for us to do, I believe. If we have a quick look at our roster, we can see that we've got a few players expiring next year. That's not what I want to have a look at. We're going to have a look at contract expiry. We've got 12 players expiring next year. Obviously, Todd Goldstein, who we just picked up. We've got Will Dawson, who played a lot of 40 for us last season. Ryan Hardiman. Luke Urquhart will probably get a bit more run this year. We've got McDonald, who, getting older. I believe he's a father-son as well, actually. We've got McKercher, we've got Bailey Scott, Dersma, and we've got Georgie Wardlaw as well. So we're going to leave our cap space open, because we may actually extend some of these contracts now. I want to wait on Wardlaw, just obviously depending on injuries. But I think Dersma, Scott, and McKercher, I'm definitely going to extend now. Let's see how much money that takes up. Okay, we spent a little bit of money, just over $1.5 million a season on those additional players. That's it on top of what they were already making. So I've actually extended the contracts of Finn O'Sullivan. We didn't do Wardlaw, we did Dersma, we did Bailey Scott, we did McKercher as well. I thought about doing the contract for Sheasel, but he's already contracted through 2030, so there's no real reason for me to do his contract just yet. But there is one other player that I do want to have a look at, and it's Jai Simpkin. I don't really know what his role is right now. I've given the captaincy to Harry Sheasel. He's contracted for another 4 years, so is this kind of an example of, do I hang on for him for a little bit longer? He didn't really play a lot last year due to injury. Or do I just cash in on him now? Because he's a free agent, obviously, in 2029. We're hoping that the rebuild won't take that long. But we'll just have to wait and see how we go. But I'm keeping an eye on Jai Simpkin. Our work in free agency and the trade period is now done. We're just going to have a look at some moves around the league now. Jack Buckley has been moved to Freo in exchange for pick 16. Connor McDonald has been sent to the Swans for pick 17 and pick 35. Mitch Hinge has been traded to Melbourne for pick 21. Jack Bowes is on the move to the Doggies for 18 and 25. Jamara is off to Hawthorn for a future first and pick 17. Josh Weddle is off to Geelong for pick 7. And then Carlton have lost Jack Silvani to Richmond for pick 39. Callum Archie is signed with Melbourne. Brisbane get pick 34. Elijah Hollins is off to West Coast in exchange for pick 26. Jai Newcomb has been traded to West Coast for pick 6. And lastly, Sam Walsh has been traded to Hawthorn in exchange for pick 6 and pick 7. But now, our future is in waiting. We now have the 5th pick in the draft. Hopefully we can get some decent talent. One of the really good key defenders, the medium-sized defenders, is still there in Christian Ware, and that is the pick we are going to make. So welcome aboard, Christian Ware. Now reach pick 17, and we're going to have a quick look at the guys who played in the championship and that are still available. If we look at the top of the board, none of these guys really have outstanding potential, and that is what I'm drafting for, is potential. Kettleborough is a recommended player, or a suggested player, but that's not really the direction I want to go. We just drafted a defender. Timothy Short is way down the board. If he has decent potential, that may be a direction we go, even though he is a defender. And then there's Colton Roach, who is a key defender. I'll quickly have a look at Roach. We'll just have a see where his potential lies. It's fine, but he's 65 overall. We just drafted a medium-sized defender, so I think we go key defender here. So Colton Roach, welcome aboard. We've got 5 other picks that we need to make here. We'll just see who's available. I'm just going to draft for best position and best fit, really. We're not really going to be a finals contender, I believe, this season. So I know we need another ruck. So we'll just see who's available as a decent ruck. Who's here? Oscar Eastland, we'll draft him. That's fine. Oliver Eastland, actually, not Oscar Eastland. Key forwards, I know we always need more key forwards. See who's available here in a decent range. Is it Matt Allen? I know he plays for Glenelg. And there's also Grant here, who is a bit younger, has a bit of potential. I think that's the direction we'll go in. Obviously draft for potential. I accidentally simulated the pick, but he picked a midfielder anyway, which is kind of what I was after. I'll kind of go for another midfielder here. Sam Wicks is available. Where do I know that name from? He used to play for Sydney. Sure, we'll take him. Mature age, and he's got decent ability. And lastly, we'll just take best player available, I think is the way to go. Actually, Annabelle is here. I know he's a young player who is going to be drafted next season. There's Logan Evans, who is very, very good. Is a part of my Port Adelaide team. We've also got Darcy Tucker, who we delisted. We may as well redraft him here. And with our first selection in the rookie draft, this is where we take Logan Evans. Good to see that we could get him in the rookie draft, as well as getting Darcy Tucker back via the national draft. In terms of the other players that we are going to have a look at, I'm really just going to pick a whole bunch of utilities. Actually, we'll take Winder here. I know he's not a utility, but he's been good for us previously. And our draft hand is now done. There wasn't really a whole bunch of talent towards the back end of the rookie draft, as there generally isn't in real life. We're officially into the 2026 season, and to have a look at our objectives, what should we be having a look at? I think if we can be, I don't think we're going to be a top 8 side, but if we can be within the top 6 across 8 different rounds, I feel like that's going to be decent. So that is where we're going to have a look at being the gold one. I don't trust our team losing more than 2 games in a row at any point in time, and the others I just don't think are worth the risk. So we're going to go for the platinum target. We get through preseason with a nice win over GWS. Unfortunately, we do have 1 injury left from last season. I know that Will Dawson does have, or is recovering from, an ACL injury. If we have a quick look, he's still out for 2 to 3 weeks. We'll automate our travel. We're actually playing GWS again, which is quite funny. Let's have a look at our squad selection. We still have no injuries. This is what I'm planning to be our best 22 for the upcoming season. So we've got Riley Hardman in the back pocket. We've got Taylor Goad. We've got Christian Ware, who we picked up in the draft. Luke McDonald, Charlie Cooman, Jackson Archer, Colby McKercher, Georgie Wardlaw, Bailey Scott on a wing, LDU, the Sheasel, who's now the skipper. We've got Tristan Cherry, Dersma, Tyler Welsh at centre half forward, Finn O'Sullivan, Luke Bruce, Nick Larkey, Paul Curtis, and then we've got Matt Whitlock, who's going to start as our ruck on the bench / key defender reserve. Simpkin, Gunston, Zerha, and Luke Urquhart as the sub. Colton Roach he's just there as a reserve, and then we've got Will Dawson and the like down in the Rezzies right now. Unfortunately, we can't repeat our preseason form up against the Giants. We lose by 58 down in the Ninja House. Hopefully that is not a sign of things to come for the rest of the year. Okay. There's a big game here. It's round 24. It is North Melbourne and Collingwood. If we win this game by enough, we get into the finals. Obviously, if Geelong lose, that also helps us out a little bit, not by much. But if we win this game by enough, we will make the finals. We're on a 3-game winning streak to end the year. If we can get it to 4 games, we do not deserve to make finals, by the way, but we're giving it a good hot crack anyway. Let's see how we go. We don't have any injuries at the moment, at least that I'm aware of. We do not. Okay, so we're going to keep the same team as is. We have not really been in a top 6 position all season long, so we need to win this game to make the finals. Let's see how we go. It's an 84-point win. Okay, I'm assuming that will be enough percentage-wise. Zerha kicks 4, Nick Dacos kicked 4, which is quite funny. Nick Dacos also gets the 3 votes. Have we made finals because of that win? We're in the top 7. We now have to play Hawthorn, I believe, in a elimination final. If all things are fair and equal, which it appears that it is. Oof, how the hell have we done that? That is absolutely outrageous. Freo, of course, are at the top of the ladder, but North Melbourne are finally in the top 8. We didn't, objective-wise, we did not reach the top 6 at any point across this season, so no objective there. But we got our other 2, which was win 5 home games and win 10 matches this season, so we still get a bit of money there. But this is the tricky part. We now have to get through the rest of the home and away season. Elimination final time. Hawthorn and North Melbourne at the MCG. Hawthorn had a pretty handy off-season. They picked up Sam Walsh in the trade period. And we unfortunately don't get past the elimination final, but still an outstanding effort to even get there. But we're going to repeat our training for the rest of the year. And hopefully Freo don't win another premiership. Sheasel finishes second in the Brownlow. Andy Brayshaw finishes as this year's Brownlow medalist. Kyle Langford ends up winning the Coleman. No North Melbourne players that I can see. And Christian Ware ends up finishing second in the Rising Star behind Mason Flynn. And in terms of the All-Australian team, Sheasel, I imagine, would be the only one to make it. And he is. He's just a glorious player, isn't he? Freo have made the grand final, but they've lost to Brisbane this time around. Hawthorn make it to a prelim, but they lose to Freo by a point. So it's good to know that we did not lose to, the eventual premiers. But Freo lose the premiership, which is what we're all about on this channel. Now it's time to get into the 2026 off-season, and we can see that we've got sort of 9, 10 maybe uncontracted players. The big one being George Wardlaw. Now, I think I will bring him back. I just need to take sort of count of what we already have in terms of our midfielders. Luke McDonald. Is it Luke McDonald? It is Luke McDonald. He is getting up there in years. I feel like I'm not going to trade him, I don't believe, but I'm quite happy just to delist him. That is absolutely fine. Riley Hardman, I will be bringing back alongside Will Dawson. Luke Parker maybe has another season in him if we're lucky. Jackson Archer, if he wants to come back, I'll bring him back. And in terms of these other rookies that we brought in via the rookie draft, if they want to sign, they'll sign. If not, I'll just let them go. I've re-signed everybody else that needs to be re-signed. The other 4 players, McDonald, Evans, Winder, and Dobson don't want to sign new contracts. That's fine. I'll find them new homes. I've come to the conclusion that, signing up one of your best players, even though they're slightly injury prone, kind of a good idea. So we won't give him the full, 9 years that we have given to some of our other players. We'll give him a slightly shorter 5-year deal. Hopefully that is relatively affordable because he already is kind of on a big salary. $953,000 a season isn't cheap, but we'd be shelling out a lot more if we were giving out a longer contract. So I'm quite happy to give him the sort of the short-term security for us, even though 5 seasons is a long time, but I'm banking on the fact that 5 seasons we won't be doing this rebuild. So hopefully this deal will go through. It has gone through. George Wardlaw is back. And that leaves us with 8 roster spots and approximately $2 and a bit million to spend. Now, I haven't actually done anything in free agency yet, mainly because I don't actually know who's there. So we're going to have a look now. There's a few Hawthorn names, which I promise I'm not going to touch, but we are going to have a look at some of those older players once again. Travis Boak and Scott Pendlebury. I mean, we really don't need any more midfielders, to be perfectly honest. Zorko could be interesting, but they just won a premiership, so I'm not going to bring him across. Dane Rampy could be interesting. Jeremy Howe, also interesting, but I think all the others probably not. And then we're getting into sort of a bit younger, even though 35 years of age isn't young. We've got the Duncans, the Blixarves, the Coxes, the Fifes, Lockie Jones. I'm not really liking any of these names. I mean, I don't see them moving clubs, so we may need to get a little bit creative in the trade market. I don't know what draft picks we have at this point in time. Let's skip forward to the trade period and have a bit of a scout. Our first pick is the 12th overall. Hawthorn have 7 and 8 in this year's draft as well, so they've done some very good business. If we have a look at some of the best players available, we can see that there is a Preston Francis who looks very, very good, as well as a Max Jackson. These half-back players coming out of Western Australia. Don't know what they're doing over there in Perth, but some very, very high-end talent. We could trade into, a top 3 position. We would have to do a deal with either the Crows, West Coast, or Richmond. I don't know why I said that out of order, but, we could potentially, if we wanted to get one of those really, really top-end youngsters, we could go into the draft that way. But in terms of the other, trading players that we do have, I'm just going to hop into the Crows here and have a look. We've obviously got Winder, Dobson, and I can't think of his name. Logan Evans that we need to move on. We've also got some other players like your Cosgraves, who I think I drafted accidentally. We've got your Griffin Logues, your Zach Fishers, who are sort of your middling sort of AFL players. Your Dylan Stevens is another one. So we've got a bit that we need to do, but I'm going to have a look around, do some trades, and see if we can sort of gain some stock, and hopefully we can get some deals done to move up the draft board once again. I'm going to try this deal first up with the Crows. I'm going to be sending Dylan Stevens, who is South Australian, over to the Crows, former high-end draft pick via Sydney, I believe. And then we got Christian, is it Christian Roach? Or no, Christian was I can't remember. Mr. Roach, who we picked up in our draft last season, we're going to be sending him over to the Crows. He has a bit of potential, but we do have other key defenders that I do like, as well as pick 12 and pick 24 in exchange for pick 2. Hopefully this deal gets done. They say no. Could we include our future first, assuming that we're going to be semi-decent next year? Would you say yes to that? They still say no. Let's work on this deal a little bit. First deal of the trade period is going to be pick 12, Matt Whitlock and Dylan Stevens heading over to Port Adelaide in exchange for pick 5. Matt Whitlock, we're going to send him over to play with his brother over in Adelaide. Dylan Stevens, he is currently a South Australian, doesn't lose his sort of citizenship. But he was a top-end draft pick that went to Sydney, didn't work out, came over to us, still hasn't worked out, so we're sending him home. And effectively, this is just the currency to swap draft picks. Hopefully, this deal gets done. They say we're a little under par. Can we throw in something to get the deal done? Couldn't we interest you in a Zach Fisher? Would that be something that would tickle your fancy? You say no. Is there anything else down the back end of our list here? What about a Sam Wicks? Would you say yes to Sam Wicks? They still say no. I'm hesitant to throw in a second round pick. We'll give you pick 30. What about pick 24? Would that get the deal done? There we go. We finally do a deal with Port Adelaide, and now we can head back over to the Crows. We've been trying to get pick 2. Hasn't really worked out so far. We're going to throw in Roach, who we picked up with pick 14 last year's draft, along with pick 5 to get pick 2. If I say the word pick again, do a shot. Hopefully this deal gets done. They still say no. What if we throw in pick 30 in this year's draft? They say no once again. Is there something else I can throw in that they would be interested in? Zach Fisher, I know we offered him to Port. We'll offer you to the Crows instead. We finally move up to pick 2. One of those really, really good players will be there available for us. I do hope it's the midfielder, but if we have the defender, that works out fine as well. This one is essentially a salary dump. Dobson, Winder, and Cosgrave are heading over to the West Coast Eagles in exchange for a future third round pick. The Eagles need all the help they can get. If we can just get a pick from them, that will be fine. I'll even take a future fourth. I just want to get them gone, and they're out of here. We spoke about it a bit in last year's off-season. We're going to be sending Jai Simpkin over to Carlton. I just don't think he fits our current sort of timeline. He's sort of at the back end of his career now. We're also going to be attaching Logan Evans to this deal in exchange for a future second round pick, pick 26 and pick 44 in this year's draft. They say it's a little rich for their blood. What if we take out pick 44, just go for the second round picks? I'm happy to throw in my own third round pick to get this deal done. They still say no. Can we throw in our third from next year as well? They get it done. So Simpkin is off to Carlton. We save a bit of money as well. Not that salary is really an issue at this point in time, but we move up in the draft. We get back one of our second round picks that we would have traded away to move up to pick 2, and we get one for the future as well. And just before I forget, Luke Bruce led the goal kicking for us last year. 31 goals and 500 disposals. What a game, what a season I should say by him this year. Tyler Welsh, not too bad in second as well. Nick Larkey moving up the leaderboard. Georgie Wardlaw again was fantastic. Paul Curtis, Sheasel, Koeman was up there. Disposals wise, Sheasel was outstanding. Cherry on the marks. Sheasel on the tackles. Sheasel on the clearances. Sheasel's just awesome. And Toddy Goldstein and Cherry did very, very well with the hit-outs as well. We now only have one uncontracted player left in Luke McDonald, but he doesn't want to sign a new contract. But I kind of don't want to lose him for nothing. I'm a little bit hesitant to trade him, but I'm going to try and find him a place that he'd potentially be interested in going to. So if we have a look at the ladder, we can see that, obviously we're in the top 7. We would probably send him to a Victorian team that's contending for a Premiership, and the closest one to that is with the Western Bulldogs at 5. I don't know what his value is, so if we could probably, even bunch him together with some of our second round picks, we could potentially get a first from the Bulldogs. That could be something that we do. If I can actually get to the Bulldogs. Here we go. So McDonald, they have pick 13 and 15. We'll obviously start at 13. Would you do 13 for McDonald and 26? Is that a thing that you would do, Western Bulldogs? They say no. We've got a few second rounders next season that we can sort of play around with. They say that we're close to securing the deal. We'll throw in an additional second round pick. They say it's fair. So we get pick 13 in this year's draft. Luke McDonald, you've been a good servant to North Melbourne for a long time. You're officially out of here. And we are back into the first round with another draft pick. This is where we're starting to get a little bit fun. Harley Reid is our next target. We've got about $5 million in cap space, and I figured we need to spend it on something. So let's go and spend it on Harley Reid. Now, I'm wondering what the trade is actually going to look like. We're not trading Luke Parker, don't worry about it. I want to start off by trading away Koeman, because I really like Taylor Goad and I really like Will Dawson. They're getting a lot of the minutes at key defending, or in the key defense positions right now. Charlie Koeman, although is very, very good, I don't need 3 key defenders, and I'm happy to pick up a reserve one in the national draft or the rookie draft. So I'm happy to trade him away. I think if we can throw in pick 13 and our future first round pick, will this be something that the West Coast Eagles are interested in? They are insulted by the deal. I don't really want to throw in pick 2, but I feel like to get the deal done, we may have to. Zerha, is that something you guys would be interested in? I really would like to get this done. They still say no once again. Maybe the Harley Reid trade is kind of impossible. I don't want to say it's impossible, but we would probably have to throw in one of our high-end talents, which I really don't want to. Riley Hardman, I know, is from Western Australia. I doubt it would be enough to get it over the line. That they still say insulted. Can we swap 2 for 13 or 13 for 2? Would that be close? They are close to an agreement. They already have pick 1. What would we have to take out to get this deal done? Probably Koeman, I would imagine. But who would they be interested in? Would they want Zerha over Koeman? And then I could use Koeman to get pick 2 back from West Coast. Is that something I could do? Zerha, I feel like I'm doing a trade here just for the sake of doing a trade. But it's also a very fun trade. I've panicked. Oh, thankfully it didn't go through. Is this worth it? I don't know if is this going to get us any closer to a premiership? I really don't know. That's ultimately what I'm dealing with here. I don't really want to give up anything too substantial. We've obviously got Christian Ware, and because we have Christian Ware, that's why I'm so comfortable giving up Riley Hardman, because Christian Ware is essentially the same player, except he's got a little bit more potential and he's younger. So, I mean, what else could we possibly give up? I am going to get this deal done. I will die on this hill. I will get this deal done. And what we're going to do to make this deal happen is we're going to be sending Charlie Koeman, Sam Wicks, and pick 13 over to... Oh, I picked the wrong pick. Over to Hawthorn, exchange for pick 7. We move up a little bit in the draft, and hopefully that additional sort of draft slot will get us closer to Harley Reid. He's on board. And unfortunately, trading away pick 2 does take us out of contention for either Jackson or Francis. But to be perfectly honest, getting Harley Reid on the board, and we give the West Coast Eagles fair compensation as well. But I think we've done a good job here. We do need to sign some more players in free agency just to top up the back end of our roster. So let's just go to the delisted free agents and just see who's there. We'll have a little bit of a look around and see if we can just give some players second chances on an AFL list. And as you can see on screen now, these are some of the delisted free agents that we have picked up. We have got Cody Anderson, we've got Riak Andrew, we've got Elijah Sardis, we've got Lockie Jones, Alex Dodson, Caminiti, Aaron Francis. Harley Reid's not a delisted free agent. And Lucas, is it Luca or Luca? Luca Grego with 2 C's. We have now got 8 players left on the books. Almost $3 million to spend. I'm going to leave it there. Let the draft boys take all that up. And to be honest, in the draft, we do not have a lot of assets left. We enter the draft in the 4th round, as we will next season. But I'm feeling confident we have got a premiership side on our hands. Hopefully, that will be enough to get us to the grand final so we can win it. And in other news, Jack Ginnivan has been traded to Geelong for pick 8 and pick 73. The Doggies have traded Bailey Williams to Port for pick 23 and pick 67. Ollie Henry is now on the move to Collingwood for pick 10. Hawthorn have traded Massimo D'Ambrosio to the Suns for pick 7. Georgiadis from Port is on the move to Melbourne in exchange for a couple of second-round picks. Cozzy Pickett, 9-year contracts don't mean a thing. He is now with St Kilda in exchange for pick 6 and a future second. These are all our deals. I think we're ready to head into the draft. Additionally, Darcy Jones has been traded from GWS to Port in exchange for 22 and 44. And then Hawthorn have traded McGuinness to GWS for pick 44, and then pick 44 was sent to Port. I think that's how that one worked. Zach Bailey has been traded from the Lions to the Bombers. The Wiz is off to the Crows for a future first and pick 20. That's a good deal for the Crows. Lockie Ash has been traded straight up to the Eagles for Clay Hall. And Darcy Wilmot is off to Port Adelaide for a future first and pick 12. Pretty quiet draft day for us so far, but as you can see, there is some AFL talent. And by AFL talent, I mean James Worpel available. There is also Lloyd Meek, who I'm going to take Lloyd Meek because I feel like he's probably the more realistic selection out of him and James Worpel. And I know I said that I wouldn't be taking any more Hawthorn players, but I feel like that is kind of an exception. I didn't trade for him or take him as a free agent. We signed him in the draft. Tom Cole, I mean, former Eagles player, we may as well bring him up into our drafting system. This has actually gone a lot better than I thought it was going to go, the draft. If we have a look at some guys who actually played in the AFL last year, we'll just see who's here on lists for the sake of it. Is there anybody that I really like the look of? Not particularly. Oh, Luke Urquhart is here. We mustn't have re-signed him, so we may as well draft him back. And we're also going to bring back River Stevens as a father-son as well. We did have him, but we did delist him. He didn't want to sign a new contract, but we brought him back here, and we now head into the rookie draft. We'll just see who is still available. If we can still get somebody that is semi-decent. Oh, there is Steve Pollard, a 17-year-old utility, has a bit of potential. I like the look of him very, very much. Very flexible player. Next up is the tagging machine. Marcus Windhager obviously got delisted by St Kilda, and I think I mean, you can't have too many really good taggers. That's a lost art in my opinion, but whether he gets a game or not with us, I don't know, but he'll be there, you know, obviously for an injury crisis. Cal Shadir, sure, why not? We've already drafted him a couple of times previously, I believe. I probably won't use him too much. We'll just use him as a reserve. And then our last pick, I can see he's there on the sidelines. We've got Lauman Luau. I believe that's how you say his name. We're going to draft him. We are done. And for this season's objectives, I think this is going to be the gold one. I really don't like the objectives where you have to gain a certain amount of members, because that really just relies on your financial systems, and because that's not something I'm paying much attention to in this rebuild, I think we're going to go for the gold option instead. Our best 22 for this year, we've got Jackson Archer in the back pocket, Will Dawson, Tommy Cole, Bailey Scott, Taylor Goad, and Christian Ware. As our backline, we've got LDU, Georgie Wardlaw, McKercher, Harley Reid, and the Cheesemeister, Harry Sheasel in the midfield. We've got Cherry in the ruck, Zerha, Tyler Welsh, who's only a 65 overall, which is hilarious, Zane Dersma, Finn O'Sullivan, Nick Larkey, and Paul Curtis as our forwards. Then we got Lloyd Meek, Jack Gunston, who we should probably put at centre-half forward, Luke Parker, Luke Bruce, and Steve Pollard as the sub. We've got a few options in the resi should we need it. Obviously, when injuries come around, we've got Port in pre-season. Our objectives, we'll have a look at that in a minute. We get smoked in pre-season. Our objectives this year are to finish in the top 4, or be placed in the top 4 across 6 different rounds. Fan satisfaction of 85%. It's currently at 39. We'll try and deal with that. And we've got to try and win one game across the season against a team who finished in the top 4 last year. Should be kind of achievable. We've now got West Coast in the opening round over in Perth, the Harley Reid revenge game. We get the win, big final quarter, 5 goals apiece. LDU, Sheasel, and Liam Duggan gets the votes, but a very, very solid performance by us. Good to get our first win of the year. Let's head to the end of the 2027 season, and hopefully we'll be in the let's just finish better than last year. That's a decent goal. Let's finish in the top 6. The season is done. We maintained a top 4 spot for 5 out of 6 weeks. We just couldn't quite get that objective. We obviously won a game against the top 4 side, and the fan satisfaction is in the bin, but we've now got Freo in a qualifying final over in Perth. We finished in 4th spot, and we do very, very well for ourselves, and we currently have no injuries. We did have a few injuries towards the back end of the season, but we are now fully healthy, which is the main thing. I like what we've done with the place. Hopefully we can continue our good work and win this prelim, win the qualifying final, get into the prelim, and hopefully not have the wheels fall off at a later date. We lose Oh, we were up big in the third quarter. We were up at three-quarter time by 2 goals, and they kicked 6 goals to 2 in the final quarter. That is highly annoying. We now have to play another final. I don't know who it's against. It's against the Doggies, who in the simulation have kind of been our bogey team. Hopefully nobody's injured. Nobody is injured, which is lovely. Brewster's retired all of a sudden? Did he just get a really bad injury, or he just decided, nah, I've had enough. I want to go away. We'll bring Darcy Tucker into the fold. We'll have to look at Luke Bruce in a minute. Where is the old bugger? Nah, he's just had enough. 364 games, 605 goals. Well done, Luke Bruce. Fantastic work. He's done enough for us. He hasn't won the Premiership yet, or hasn't won a Premiership with us yet, but hopefully we can win one in this season in his honour. We go out in straight sets. Oh, it's painful. It's painful work. We lose by 74 points. The Bont, he's so good, as we know. We're coming back for another season. Libba wins the Brownlow medal. Andy Brayshaw finishes in second. Darcy Parish in third. And Harry Sheasel up in fourth. The Coleman medal belongs to Jesse Hogan once again. Oh my God, look at the Freo players up there. 3 of them in the top 5. And then we got Frederick down the bottom there as well. Geez, they kicked a few goals this year. No rising star for us. None from West Coast either. So all those draft picks and nothing to show for it. Tristan Cherry makes it as an All-Australian ruck. Is there anybody else? No Sheasel this year. So it looks like it is just Tristan Cherry this year as an All-Australian. We had a battle of the bridge for the grand final, and the Giants finally win an AFL Premiership by 10 goals. It's the second time this video that the Sydney Swans have lost a grand final by that amount. They've been absolutely crushed. Jesse Hogan kicked 3 in the granny. Who got the norm? Callum Mills actually got Norm Smith, which is hilarious in a losing side. And in terms of our guys this season, let's have a quick scout of what they produced. Nick Larkey led the goal kicking. LDU was fantastic. Cherry, Zerha. Well, actually, a lot of our guys played a lot of games this year. Harley Reid was exceptional in his first year. Sheasel wasn't too bad. Paul Curtis was decent. But yeah, very interesting season from us. But we just got to keep building towards the top of the ladder. We've improved every single year. The only trouble is we don't have our first round draft pick this year. So we just need to see who is off the books. We can see that Christian Ware is up for contract renewal. We can see that Gunston's up for renewal, Darcy Tucker, and a few other players as well. So let's just see what we can produce. We've got money to spend. This might be the season where we attack free agency. In terms of our uncontracted players that we have on screen, none of them want to sign new deals. They're just not very happy. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do that. But we have extended the contract of Christian Ware through to 2036. We've also extended Harry Sheasel's contract, who is due to expire in a couple of years. In terms of everybody else, we also extended the deals of Jack Gunston, and I believe that was the only other one that we did do, if I'm not mistaken. I know Nick Larkey is due to expire very, very soon, as is Taylor Goad, so we just got to keep an eye on those deals. And this year is a good year for free agents. If we have a look around, we've got Noah Anderson at the top of the list. Jeremy Cameron, who probably wouldn't leave Geelong if we held a gun to his head. We got the Colonel, Sam Flanders. We've got Toby Green, who he just won a premiership, so probably not. We've got Max Gawn. We've got Sam Day, Took Miller, Lockie. Jeez, there are players absolutely everywhere who are free agents this year. This is obviously the high-end free agents. Could we go for someone like a Noah Anderson? Gold Coast, to my knowledge, still haven't made finals. We could throw an absolute godfather offer his way. And that could be very, very interesting. That might be the deal we do. I know I said we weren't going to do free agency too much, but I feel like this, if there was the time to do it, this is the time. So we're going to send an offer Noah Anderson's way. He wants $1.25 million a season. We're going to give him the full 9. We're going to keep him happy for as long as possible. And he is now signed up for 9 years. And he is not the only one that we are going to go after. I do like the look of the Colonel. because I feel like he is going to be not so much as a midfielder, but as a halfback. I think he's going to be very, very good for us. He only wants the $805,000 a season. I feel like him instead of Jackson Archer in the halfback line could be a good fit. Obviously, Jackson Archer is a father-son, and we've kept him around purely because he is a father-son. So I think we're gonna not replace Jackson Archer, but Jackson Archer is just gonna step aside for the sake of a premiership. And we have signed 2 big-name free agents to big deals. I don't even think there's anything else for us to do. We've spent our money. We haven't even attacked the trade period yet. I don't think there's anything for us to do. I'm actually just going to go straight through to the draft. Let's go and get that premiership. And in free agency and trading news, Josh Draper has moved between Freo and West Coast. Freo have received pick 51 as compensation. St Kilda have received pick 39 in exchange for losing Liam Henry to the Bombers. Shannon Neal has been traded from Geelong to St Kilda in exchange for a future second-round pick. Errol Goulden is off to the Suns in exchange for pick 6 and pick 26. Connor O'Sullivan is off to the Crows. That's a weird fit. In exchange for a future first and pick 22. Alex Davies, I should say, from the Suns has been traded from the Suns to the Giants for pick 37. Logan McDonald's off to Brisbane to be the Joe Danaher replacement about 3 years later. Jai Caldwell, was he a Coleman medalist? I think a couple of seasons ago. He's now off to the Suns. Matt Cottrell is now a member of the Bombers as well, being traded from Carlton. And we enter the draft at pick 52. He's a very good player here. Abel Symes, bit of potential, 69 overall. Is a utility, can play a handful of positions. There's also Pollard up here. Where's he come from? Steve Pollard. Did we not re-sign him for whatever reason? Actually, that's a good idea. Let's just go back and try and find the guys that we delisted. That's a good idea. Well done, Cooper. Fantastic idea. Lual, we're going to bring you back. We're going to bring back Grant and Griffin Logue as well with our next pick. And that will be our national draft done. As I said before, there isn't really a lot for us to do this offseason. We just got to try and get through to the grand final. We've progressed every single season so far. We just need to try and get to the grand final. Is that Luke Nankervis from the Crows with the 14th pick in the rookie draft. Good little half back. Is there anybody else at the top end? Talent. Billy Dowling. Jack Watkins is actually a former player of ours. At one point, this save file, we're going to bring him back. I feel like we're just bringing back the family is what we're all doing. Billy Dowling also used to play for the Crows. He's now playing for Woodfield West Torrens. We may as well bring him in. A nice flexible option. And then finally, with our last pick of the draft, and hopefully this series, we're going to bring in Harry Sharp, the South Australian. Let's go win a flag. And our objective, as I've said many times, reach and win the grand final. That is what it's going to be. We've got a ton of money in the bank. Let's have a look and see where we are at with our facilities. I've been sort of passively upgrading them over the course of the save. We've still got $4 million in the bank. I'm actually going to upgrade the medical facilities, make sure we don't get too many more injuries. Everything else is either unaffordable, and with the turf, I didn't want to upgrade that. I still wanted to have a little bit of money. Our total season objectives: win the flag, win 7 games against the top 8 teams from last season, and a fan satisfaction of 85% or higher. I'm not even going to do pre-season. Let's just get through to the finals. We finish on top of the ladder in a very, 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 very interesting season. 19 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. We won like our first 15 games. We actually drew in round 1, and then we won like 15 in a row, or maybe not that many, maybe 12 or 13. Then we lost a few, and then we finished really strong. But we currently have no key forwards because Larkey and Gunston are both injured, probably for the rest of the season. So we're going to have to sort of make it up as we go along kind of thing. Yeah, Larky's out for a long time. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but let's play around with it. Let's try and come up with something. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, this might be slightly controversial, Abel Symes, who hasn't played a game for us all season. I'm going to play Zane Dersma as a centre-half forward. We've got Jack Watkins in the forward pocket at the moment. LDU is currently on the bench. Billy Dowling, Luke Parker, who's up to 371 games right now, actually. But this is probably going to be his final season if he doesn't retire at some point during the finals like Bruce did. But we've been outstanding so far. I've really, really been impressed with what we've been able to accomplish. But if we fall short here, I think I might cry. Hopefully, we can get through. We've got the Swans in a qualifying final. It's a home game, which is always handy. Let's get through. We're through to the prelim. That's one of the hard bits done. Okay, so the next bit is the really hard bit, is where if we lose, we have to start this season all over again, or actually just go through to the next season. You know what I mean? Now Dersma's out with hamstring tightness. We get an objective, which is great. Hopefully, with the week off, Dersma is going to be fine. We have the doggies at home. Dersma's fine. Parker is out. I'd like to see him make the grand final squad if he can. Let's just see who's available to come in. Luke Nankervis is probably the best fit, but also Paul Curtis is back, which is lovely. He was also injured for a bit of time. So Abel Symes, it was a lovely time, but it was a short time. Jackson Archer as the sub. Everything else appears to be okay, if I'm not mistaken. Nobody else is missing out. Luke Parker's out for 2 to 3 weeks with concussion. So we've probably seen the last of Luke Parker, unfortunately. Jack Gunston's out for 3 to 4 weeks. What a career he has had. And Larky's out with a PCL for 3 to 4 weeks. So we probably won't see those three again, unfortunately, unless we lose this game, which would be really, really a shame if we do. We win by 19. We're through to the grand final. Harley Reid is best on. We see off the Bulldogs. If Freo is waiting for us in the grand final, it better not be Fremantle. They finished in 5th. We'll see how we go training-wise. It's Sydney. Okay, so we're not playing Fremantle. We're finally playing somebody else. Oi, oi, oi. Okay. Who is... Parker's back. He's going to be playing his old side in the grand final. Cherry's out with an injury. That's not ideal, but we can get around it. Parker is going to come back in. Ideally, that's not a straight swap. Aaron Francis is also a former Swan. I forgot what he was for a second. Luke Parker's obviously not going to be the backup ruck. Who is going to be our backup ruck now that I think about it? Is anybody on our bench kind of tall? No. Okay, we need to bring in somebody who is an actual ruck. Jackson Archer is going to sit on the bench just because I feel like he not deserves it, but it's kind of like a nepotism thing. Do we have another backup ruck? Do we just not have one? Alex Dodson, he hasn't played a game for us all year. We picked him up in free agency. Who's going to be the sub here? Luke Parker can be the sub. He's going to be the man. Alex Dodson's going to be the backup ruck. But this is, I don't know what year it is, 2028, I think. The grand final team. We've got Tom Cole, who's really struggling in the back pocket, actually. Will Dawson, Bailey Scott, Christian Ware, Taylor Goad, Sam Flanders, the Colonel, Georgie Wardlaw, Noah Anderson, Colby McKerch, Harley Reid, Harry Sheasel, Lloyd Meek, of all people, Finn O'Sullivan, Zane Dersma, Jack Watkins, Paul Curtis, Tyler Welsh, Cam Zerha, and then on the bench we've got Alex Dodson, LDU, Billy Dowling, Jackson Archer, and Luke Parker in game 373 as the sub. How many games has Jack Gunston played up to this point? 348. He would have played, this would have been 350 for him, I think, had he played the finals. So, a little bit unfortunate that he's going to miss out. But we've got a grand final up against the Swans. The Swans, they can kind of wear that uniform. I must admit, I do like this one. Can we wear this one with the blue shorts? I mean, that's not awful. And the Swans can wear that one with the red shorts. I think that's a bit of fun. But here we go. We are not going to be playing 10-minute quarters. That is outrageous. But North Melbourne, Sydney Grand Final coming up next. Grand final day is here. North Melbourne and the Sydney Swans. It's a replay of the 1996 Grand Final where North Melbourne would have come out and beaten the Swans in that one. Will the Swans get their revenge today, or will North Melbourne get their first flag since the year I was born in 1999? When you think about it that way, it has been a long time since they have won a flag. But here come the Swans in all their glory. Been a very good team for a very long time. But it's now up to these guys to bring the glory back to Sydney. And here we are. Top of the ladder, coming up the race for hopefully the last time in this video. Harry Sheezel, the face of this rebuild, leading the guys out for one last time. And we've got a lot of experience in this team. Also, a lot of youth. Hopefully, that good combination will get us through to where we want to go at the end of today, raising that Premiership Cup. And look at Clarko getting the team photo done. Lining up for his 5th Premiership as coach. And what an achievement that would be for him. Fantastic job with the national anthem, as always. And let's hear that crowd roar. Swans have called heads on the toss. Who's going to win it? We have won it. Doesn't really matter that much because there's not a lot of wind, but we're going to kick to the left. And here we go for the last time in 2028. Lloyd Meek trying to win it out of the middle. We can't, but we're trying to go forward now. Harley Reid, little kick towards Tyler Welsh. Can't take the mark at full forward. Now chasing jumpers. Chad Warner, the skipper for today for the Swans. Trying to find a target. Can't. McKercher says he's within his range. We're going to go a little bit shorter. And he finds Harley Reid. Was actually aiming for Cam Zerha, but Harley Reid. Big acquisition a couple of seasons ago. He gets the first of the grand final. Fantastic start for North Melbourne. Trying to get the ball out of the middle once again. Quick kick forward. Can't find a target. Now we've got Wardlaw and McInerney giving chase. Great tackle by Wardlaw. McInerney gets boot to ball. Finds the boundary. We've got a boundary throw in. Just a minute into the game so far. Actually, the clock's counting down. I don't know why it's counting down. I hate it counting down. Anyway, Noah Anderson down to full forward. Tyler Welsh has a few to deal with. Can't take the mark. Intercept ball here. Minute and a half to go in the quarter. We got a ball up. Great find by Harley Reid out of the stoppage. George Wardlaw yet to get his hands on the footy. Lining up for his first of the day, and North Melbourne second. Puts it straight through the middle. What a hit by Lloyd Meek out of the middle. Sheezel can't find Tyler Welsh. He's having an absolute stinker at full forward. Wardlaw intercepts out of full back. Short kick is on. And now it's in the hand of Jack Watkins. 20 inside 50s is not going to happen today. No, thank you. Looks to be a little bit offline, this kick. The distance should be all right. But it's the first minor score. 30 seconds to go in the quarter, and the Swans have got nowhere near it in this one. Big fly from behind. Doesn't result in a mark. Poor kick inside. Actually finds McInerney. A little bit surprising, that one. Let's see what the Swans can come up with from here. Great intercept by Noah Anderson. Big free agent signing. He's kicked the ball backwards. That was accidental. Will Hayward finds Joel Amadi. There's 4 seconds to go. He's done the responsible thing, and he's going to have a shot on goal. Noah Anderson, a really rogue turnover may result in the Swans getting a goal before half-time, or before quarter-time, I should say. It's not going to make the distance, though. But a fantastic start by North Melbourne. Apart from that sort of final 30 seconds, really, really hot start. The midfielders getting amongst it early. Here we go, second quarter. Great hit by Meek. Harley Reid pushing forward yet again. Zane Dersma down in the square. Can't take the mark. It's another behind for North Melbourne. Out to a 14-point game. Still a lot for us to do to secure the premiership today. Chad Warner in the back pocket, kicking short. Now in the hands of McInerney, getting a lot of the ball early. LDU off the bench for the first time today. Gonna kick goalward. O'Sullivan is down there. Can't take the mark. Loose ball down in the goal square now. Lloyd does well to secure the ball and kicks it downfield. Flanders and Herbert now. Who the hell is Herbert? He's wearing number 62. Wow, what a number. Anyway, looking for Dersman now at centre half forward. Ball's out the back. Nobody can pick it up. Lloyd clears it. And now with Chad Warner once again. Heaney now. Down the line. Finds Vladic. The Swans pushing forward. Big fly from behind. Quick little snap. Picked up. Amadi's got it. Swans starting to dominate a little bit. Harley Reid can't lay the tackle, but Taylor Goad. He's a big unit. Does well. And now looking wide. Jack Watkins has a big job here. Ball's out the back. James Jordan. How is that a high tackle? It's literally got him around the waist. Short little kick. Now in the hands safely of Sheasel. We're going to go wide to our high draft pick. Christian Ware down the line. Gets wrapped up. That is holding the ball. Probably just a little bit too cute there by North Melbourne. Now in the hands of Warner once again. And here is Joel Amadi. Lining up to get Sydney second. Starts it wide. No good. Christian Ware long out of fullback here. We need a mark. Zerha does well. We've got a player up the ground by himself. We've got a 2-on-1 here. Dersma takes the mark nice and cleanly. We've got players over the top looking for LDU. And he takes it inside 50. 10 seconds to go in the quarter. To get one for the quarter, we can't. That's our first score of the quarter. Very, very low scoring quarter so far for us. And Sydney have done well to outdo us this quarter. But we have an 8-point lead going into halftime in what has been a very competitive grand final so far. The sub has been made at halftime. Tyler Welsh has properly stunk up the joint. Luke Parker, in what could be his final AFL game, is into the game against his old side. How poetic would this be? Georgie Woodlaw, I think, just got tripped over. May have been a hamstring injury, I'm not sure. But the Swans get a very quick goal out of half-time. I didn't get an injury notification, so I'm assuming everybody's okay. Finn O'Sullivan has a bit of work to do here. Handball over the top. One more. O'Sullivan running into an open goal. Misses to the left-hand side. That could be the story of today. Inaccuracy ruining a grand final. Short kick. Risky. In the hands of LDU. He's already got a... Actually, no, he doesn't have a goal today. He just missed before half-time. Is this one going to go through? That's nice. That's really nice. He gets the first for North Melbourne for the half. Meek once again having a very good quarter. Actually, a very good game, to be honest. In the absence of Tristan Cherry. Quick kick forward. Dersma's got a few to deal with. Can't take the mark, but really well done by Dane Rampy. Short kick. Risky. Doesn't do anything with it, though. Callum Mills, the losing Norm Smith medalist in a grand final a couple of seasons ago. Kicks it straight to Harley Reid. Back down to full forward. Noah Anderson takes the mark directly in front of goal. You think this would be an easy enough kick. It is. We get our fourth, and it's a 15-point lead. Loose ball out of the middle. Davies Uniac giving chase. Harley Reid's on the run. Anderson's on the inside. Sheasel lays a tackle. Anderson's out. You just need a quick kick inside. Finds one over the top, and it's Paul Curtis. It's actually a contract year for Paul Curtis this year, I believe. puts through a goal with his left foot. Biggest lead of the game. It's 21 points. Lloyd Meek starting to dominate here. Ball forward by Sheasel. Can't find anybody, unfortunately. And now the Herbert. Herbert? Sherbert? I don't know. But he's in the middle of the ground. Finds Vladic. Just turns it straight over to LDU. If we can get a mark inside 50, there's 10 seconds to go in the quarter. Dersma, great hands. On the 3/4 time siren, hooks it to the left, unfortunately. 5 goals, 5. Playing his 2 goals, 1 going in to 3/4 time. What a performance so far by North Melbourne.
And all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me with this last quarter bit. You've been in front all day and you've got to stay there. Are you going to sit there? Come on, then. We've got a big effort there. Come on,
Great rev up by Alistair Clarkson. Let's go. Final quarter. We've got 2.5 minutes to really rub it into the Swans or potentially throw it all away. Which one's it going to be? Let's find out. Dersma couldn't get the mark, unfortunately. Hasn't had a great grand final. He's had a couple of behinds, I believe. No goals to his name. Meek. That's in the back. Oh, okay. Let's kick short. We've got a few options short. He's given it to Luke Parker with what could be his final kick of his career. That is beautiful by the 373-game superstar. Swans pushing forward now. Great hands by Herbert. He's probably been Sydney's best today. One of Sydney's best, at least. Jackson Archer's down there. We clear the ball a little bit. Christian Ware, top 5 draft pick. Can't find a target. McKercher giving chase, but is a little knackered. And now it's back in the hands of Papley. Short kick inside. Can't find a target. Taylor Goad. What a job he's done today. But it's back in the hands of Taylor Adams in the middle of the ground. Christian Ware can't take the mark. Swans pushing forward once again, but they cannot find targets. This time they do. It's in the hands of Joel Amadi. The Swans get one back. They need 4 goals to win, and they've only got 50 seconds. It's probably out of the question for them now. Quick handball over the top by Anderson. Another one forward by Harley Reid. Parker for another. He's kicked it out in the full. That is absolute shank of the highest order. But we've got 30 seconds to just enjoy the rest of the grand final. We've got Rowbottom at halfback, looking for a target, looking for McDonald. Only finds Christian Ware. Let's kick it back inside forward 50. The skipper, the step ladder. Doesn't work out for the Swans. McKercher's got it outside 50. Let's play on. Long kick. Noah Anderson, can he get one more? He takes the mark. Let's go with the party tricks to really kick off the grand final celebrations. He sinks it. It is a 28-point win to North Melbourne. And now it's time for the grand final presentations. Premiership Cup is there, sitting and waiting. I have no idea, honestly, who is going to win the Norm Smith medal. Let's find out. It's the mustachioed Noah Anderson with the Norm Smith medal. What a performance. I think it was 10 disposals and 2 goals in the end by him. Really exceptional stuff. And the Messiah, Alistair Clarkson, alongside his skipper, Harry Sheasel. Premiership coach number 5, or Premiership number 5, I should say, for Alistair Clarkson. And North Melbourne's first flag since 1999. It's going to be a wild party tonight in the streets of Arden. What a grand final and what a rebuild. Noah Anderson is actually the North Sydney medalist, both in the menu and on screen. Very rarely that happens. Chad Warner gets the 2 votes. Harley Reid gets 1. What a performance by North Melbourne in this game. How do we go objectives-wise? We did absolutely nothing, but we've got almost $4 million in the bank. Season objectives, we win the Premiership. We didn't win 7 games against top 8 sides, and the fan satisfaction moved up 1%, which was lovely. But that is the rebuild done. In terms of the off-season awards, the Bont gets a Brownlow medal, Lockie Neal, Colton Folstrup in 3rd, and Sheasel in 4th once again. In terms of the Coleman, we got Gunston up there. Unfortunately, couldn't get another Premiership medal. Georgie Wardlaw, 35 goals for him, and Nick Larkey also get the 35 goals. But Charlie Curnow ends up as the winner. Pollard ends up 2nd in the Rising Star. Couldn't quite get the votes for him. Will Dawson made the All-Australian team as a fullback. Taylor Goad made it on a wing, funnily enough. Tristan Cherry made it as the ruck. Anybody else? Harry Sheasel made it on the bench. So 4 All-Australians. What a performance by us this season. And if we have a quick look at the team stats as well, just to wrap things up, you can see Georgie Wardlaw led the way, 40 goals on the year in the end. How did he not make All-Australian? That is bizarre. But Jack Gunston, 37 goals. Nick Larkey with the 35. Colby McKercher with 31. Noah Anderson was very good. But what a performance, as I said, by us in this season. Who do you guys want to see next? I know Carlton did get a lot of love on the last, I think it was the GWS rebuild, but all the comments down below, whoever gets the most liked comment and whoever leaves the most comments, I basically tally those together, and whoever comes out on top, I do in the rebuild next. So Carlton did get a lot of love last time, but you need to vote for Carlton again if you want to see them done, or whoever team you want to see done. So leave a comment down below on who you want to see done, leave a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy the video. Thank you very, very much for watching up until this point. I will see you next time for whoever you guys pick. See you guys then. Bye.